Now I have been aware for some time that these headlights are in desperate need of a wet sand, and that is what I'm going to attempt to do today. I don't expect miracles. The plastics used on these facelifted headlamps, I like these. I like the design. I think it's made, I think for such a budget conscious facelift, these really do give the car justice and gave it a bit of a facelift that it really needed to make it look a little bit more modern. Some people don't like them. I actually really like them. That's why I really wanted this facelift. But we're going to wet sand these headlights. We're going to use 1200 grit. Usually I'd use 1500, but these are so bad I'll go for 1200. If I have to go for 1000, I will. But we'll start with a conservative 1200, don't want to scratch it too much, and then we'll go up to 15 and maybe 2000, but we're going to polish in stages. So remember, you've got to wet the sandpaper and you've got to keep wetting the headlights. It's really important. You've got to make sure it's wet. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to actually get the bonnet open so we can get better access. First of all, we'll just make sure it is thoroughly wet, this 1200, and then wet the headlight. Spray it really generously with a spray bottle, get it really nice and wet. Okay, that's far enough. Here we go. What we want to see is some cream. We want to see cream coming off these headlights. It's going to go everywhere. I should have put masking tape around, but we'll forget that for the second because I just want to see how well it comes up. And straight away we are actually seeing streaks, and you can actually see that on camera. So again, I mean, look at that straight away. And it's all coming off. There we go, straight away. Goodbye, Mr. Hazy, well, Mrs. Hazy. Look at that, straight away. Something really caught on these headlights. So on some cars you just don't see this sort of problem. Mark 1 Focuses are certainly not known for this. They do get a bit yellow sometimes, but that's very rare. Okay, right, I'll come back in about 5 minutes of doing this because I'm sure, well, I have discovered how to use a time lapse, but I don't really use it as a video technique, so I'll just cut you off and we'll come back in about 5 minutes. I forgot to say, but there was evidence in the service history that these headlights have come apart a few times. I think the earliest one was 2013 when the car was 9 years old. The garage said they took the headlights out and cleaned the inside of the lens. They took it all apart and resealed them. Oh God, at 9 years old. And then it happened again a couple of years later, so clearly these are not the best for many reasons. They are starting to come out a bit, but there's all sorts of cream, and you can actually pick that up on camera. Look at that. Oh dear. Just have to keep going around this, particularly around the edges where it's gone a bit more green. Right, I've finished that after about 7 minutes, and I think you'd agree it's already looking better. But what's going to happen now when I do this is it's going to go hazy again. So what we need to do now, and some people polish it, some people don't. I don't. We're going to go to the next level because that feels quite smooth. Now there is a mark, but that mark is actually on the inside, so I can't do much about that unless I take the headlamp apart. What we're going to do now is 1500. I'm going to go up to 1500 now. I'm just going to get a piece and just wet it, and wet it again. I'll probably will go up to 2,000 because I do have 2,000 available. I've got 2,500, but that might be a bit overkill, so we'll just see what happens. But it is feeling incredibly smooth now, which is what you want, and also the cream has stopped coming off. So this is just about sanding it just a little bit more, and then we'll polish it, and that's where the magic happens. So I'll cut back to the camera once I've done a few minutes of this. It won't take long at all. Right, that's done. Now what's happened is it is very smooth but hazy. So what we're going to do now is the polish, because we can see the lines, and we'll see if we can go over with 2,000 once I've done the polishing. I just want to put some polish on there for now using my polishing machine. Well, actually, to be fair, I won't use the machine. I'll do it by hand. Now, auto glim stuff, I've got a load of this stuff, so I might as well use it. There are other products, but as I say, you know, I've never had a problem with this stuff. Just put a blob. That's it, just a blob. Okay, and then we'll just buff in as best as we possibly can. This might take a few minutes. It would be better using a machine, but I'm going to go over with 2,000 grit to eliminate the rest of the scratches. Now I'm just buffing, and you can see on the camera, because I'm looking at the camera, and you can see the transformation. It's still a little bit on the hazy side, but you do need lots of elbow grease. Now I'm doing this by hand, I'm not even using my machine. I've got my cordless D20 polisher, which is superb, by the way. There is a bit of moss under here, which is why it's green, but I will get that out with a jet washer at some point. I haven't bothered to clean the car at the moment. Right, now that is still hazy, but on the camera it looks pretty nice actually. But what we're going to do now is go to 2,000 for the next stage. I've polished it, but I just wanted to see how well it came up, but I'm going to do 2,000 now. Again, I've got my my 2,000 grit. Well, as I say, anybody knows that after about 2,000 grit it becomes incredibly expensive, but I have got 2,500, believe it or not. Don't know why I bought 2,500. It wasn't for the headlights, you know, it may have been actually. So I'm just going to drench this, and then we're just going to go again. I'm just going to make sure. It's very difficult for water to retain. You'll find that water just beads off 2,000 because it's so fine. Now it will just, so it will scratch into the surface again. I can see the scratches straight away. We're just going to scratch right in, minute scratches into the surface. So it's fading up again. That's absolutely normal. Don't panic when it starts fading up, because that's just the normal aspect of sandpaper actually doing its magic. Okay, I've now finished with the 2,000 grit. Once again, it is just super soft. In fact, it's far less hazy now. That 2,000 grit has just taken out the edge of a lot of the actual sides and the actual scratches, and even without polishing that is far less hazy. Well, we are going to polish it now, and we're going to do it with the machine, a D20 polisher. Trick you see is to just make sure it's all spread out. This is why I should have masked up around the headlight, but hey, make sure you contact the headlight before you start. just take the excess off using the microfiber. That looks amazing. You know something? I know that some of you are going to say this is a bit unnecessary, but I want a good job to be done. Now I could polish that up further, but that has actually come out really, really nice compared with what it had. I mean, that is a transformation. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. 2500. Oh boy, I'm doing that. Right, 2500 grit, only a little piece. I'm only going to do this very, very quickly. But again, same procedure as before. Just wet sand. I don't think the camera will pick up that it is still a little bit on the hazy side. Oh god, that's smooth. Again, it will just go a bit hazy as the sandpaper, as fine as it is, will still scratch into the plastic. And as you can hear that noise again, and look how easily my hand is just gliding. Before it was like literally sandpaper, and I'll show you that at the end. I think you will all agree that that is some transformation. There are a couple of things that I'm not quite so happy about, but I suspect they're on the other side, because if this has been cleaned on the other side of the lens at some point, can the camera pick it up? That, I don't know what this is. It's on the other side. I can't feel it. Literally, it's whisper smooth. Whisper smooth, and eventually the paintwork will be this smooth. It's a bit like sandpaper, the paintwork. It's never been polished. But if you can see from here, you can see how it's still a bit slightly hazy, but I suspect that's because of, one, the quality of the plastics, two, how far gone it was. But I am pretty pleased with that. I mean, you wouldn't, to be honest with you, on a street, nobody's going to look at that and look twice at how bad it is. And that wouldn't look bad at a show either. If I could just show you that angle, you can see sort of the haziness going down. But do you know what? I've gone up to 2500 grit. I didn't want to go as low as 1000 grit sandpaper. Possibly I should have, but there's no real way I can eliminate some of the scratches. Some of them are there, but they're very minor. And if you look at the other side, oh dear, yeah, that is this is pure sandpaper. I mean, it's literally got a layer of green algae or moss, whatever it is, over the top of it, and it is, can you hear that? Ugh. So I'm going to do the same on the other side off camera, but you get the picture. I think I should have done the recording on this side. This is far more exciting. Look at this. Whoa. Look at all this. Whoa. Coming off and dripping off. Oh, okay. This was hard work. It's taken me an hour and a half. I had to go down to 1000 grit because there was some really bad oxidization. I thought it was on the inside, but no, the 1200 was barely touching it, but the 1000 started cleaning it off, and it just kept on raining this milky water continually, and I was thinking, when's it going to stop? But eventually it did stop or slow down, and I went to the 1200, 1500, 2000, 2500, and then a big polish over. And I tell you what, that has come out so nicely. I hope the camera picks that up. And I suspect, you know, in a way, it's slightly better than this side, but I think they're just as equal as each other. I mean, it's only that, and I wonder whether that, maybe I need to go down to 1,000. See, I haven't done 1,000 on this side, so maybe I might need to briefly do that at some point in the future. But at least the aim of this was to polish a set of facelifted Rover 45 headlamps, and yeah, I've certainly done that. So you can see the fade just a little bit in the corners. That's the thing with wet sanding, you can't totally get rid of the actual surface, and no doubt these headlights will try and fade again in the years to come, but it's got me to stop that from happening. I will see you all soon, guys. Take care. Bye bye.